Hey, it's Ryan, and I got a little tech tip for you. So I'm in the middle of replacing a door latch on a 1997 Ford Explorer. And if you've ever had to replace or remove one of these door lock actuators on a Ford, probably more than just Fords, but specifically on a Ford, you'll know that they're held in place by a great big rivet that goes through the door. And those rivets are hard to get out, but more importantly, they're hard to put back in. Usually you need to have a great big rivet gun like this in order to get them in nice and tight, and it's a lot of expense to go through if the only thing that you need it for is just to put a door lock cylinder in. So one of the tips that I picked up a while ago is if you pop the little bracket off the door lock cylinder, I actually like to go in here and use JB Weld to put a 1/4-20 nylon lock nut in there. That makes it really easy to just use a bolt to put the door lock actuator in. And then if you ever need to take it out again, which you probably will because most of the replacements aren't very good, then it's super easy for you to do that too. So I'm going to show you quickly how to do that, and I hope it's a great tip for you. All right, so that's basically it. I have this all done. I've got my latch back together, and I have the door lock solenoid all on, including that 1/4-20 nylock nut that's been JB welded inside of the little bracket there. So a couple of things to think about. The first one is, make sure you let that JB weld have quite a bit of time to cure before you go and thread your bolt through it for the first time. Nylock nuts can be kind of difficult to thread through the first time, and you don't want that bolt popping out of partially cured JB weld. So if you're replacing with a brand new solenoid, then I would suggest maybe doing the JB welding the night before and then installing it the next day, so it's got lots of time to cure. The other thing that's really important to think about is there's not a lot of space between that bracket and the solenoid itself. So make sure you're not using a really long bolt there. Obviously the distance of the nut has to go through, and the distance of this little plastic spacer if your solenoid happens to have one. But other than that, it's really just the thickness of the sheet metal of the door that you have to go through. So I usually use a 5/8 1/4-20 bolt, but you might need a 3/4 or something like that, a little bit longer. A great way to find out if your bolt is going to be too long is just to thread it through without installing it. Just thread the bolt through with the nut and everything. Make sure that it doesn't contact the solenoid. You don't want to drive that bolt through so far that it puts a bunch of pressure and cracks the solenoid body or something like that, and then you have to go through the next time. If your solenoid does fail in the future once you've done this, it's very easy just to pop this bracket off and transfer it over to your new solenoid going into the future. So this is really the kind of job that you do once, and it's good for ever. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up with this door latch, and have a great day. Thanks so much. If this was helpful to you, make sure you like and subscribe.